Thank you for joining us on our journey here to preserve the history of mixed martial arts. When I wanted to take on this project, I needed help. I brought in one of my favorite matchmakers, Miguel Iturrate, and the MMA detective, Mike Davis. So to do this, we've been able to preserve history. Welcome and enjoy.
Yo, all right. What's up, everybody? Eric Smith. Look at that. That's me and Kev together on a T-shirt. Eric Smith, Dayton, Ohio boy, wrestled at Ohio State with Kevin. It's Remember Kevin weekend. So, we got to tell some great stories. I got so many stories. I don't know where to start. The first time I met the guy, I was in high school. He was on Ohio State junior national team, wrestling team. And the practices were at my high school. And him and these guys picked up, like, I think it was whatever small car was back then, a Ford Escort, and moved it like way down the parking lot. And that's when you first seen this guy, and he's got this like Greek goddess body. You're like, yo, and he's got this crazy energy. You're like, yo, man, like you're just drawn to that energy. And then I go and wrestle at, he's part of the reason I went to Ohio State. I went and wrestled at Freestyle States to make the junior national team in Ohio. And there's a guy I lost to. I was wrestling, and Kevin jumped in my corner. He didn't know me yet. I haven't got a chance to introduce myself. He probably saw me watching him, but he starts coaching me in the corner. And I remember it was like a close match. He gets in the corner. He's like, shoot. I'm in there. I take him guys down. This guy had beat me in the regular season. So he was a state run up. So he was good. And he kept like, shoot again. All right, hit him with another slim swizzle, wow. Now look up, I'm up by 8. And Kevin's like, shoot again. He's getting tired. I remember I look at him. I'm like, so am I, bro. So am I. But what was crazy about that, man, I remember I went home. I was like, Mom, I'm going to Ohio State. And I was like, if he can bring that out of me, he don't even know me. Imagine what he can bring out of me when he gets to know me, right? So I was the best man in his wedding. I gave the eulogy at his funeral. So there was highs and lows, man. Crazy stories about Kevin. Like, half the people don't know the crazy, insane stories. One was, I remember we were at a club one night, and there's this little posse called the Short North Posse in Columbus, Ohio. And we used to love to just pop them up, right? Like, they thought they was tough. They was little dope boys, but they weren't tough. But one time they caught me and Kev. We would slap them around on campus if they ever said anything, because everybody was scared of them, but we weren't. But one time they caught us off campus. We was a little bit older, and it was like, no bullshit, maybe 30 of these motherfuckers, man. And Kev comes and gets me out of nowhere. I'm trying to holler at this chick. He comes, pulls me out. He's like, we about to fight. And I thought we was going to fight like 2 or 3 people, right? And we go to the middle of the bar, the dance room, and it's the whole fucking club against us, like in their territory. I'm like, fuck, Kev. So we used to always have these rules, man. If we were ever getting into a fight, you could never take the person to the ground. Because why? If you take them to the ground, people, if you're outnumbered, if you take them to the ground, people jump on you. You don't have no chance of winning, right? That was our rule. It worked every time. So we're there. And another thing that helped us out, nobody wants to take that first punch, especially from Kevin, right? So we're at the club, and I'm like, we might be able to talk our way out of this. Everybody's scared to take this first punch. And I just seen this dude come from behind, and he has a Dom Perignon bot on his head, and he hits Kevin over the head. And Kevin looks at him, and I go, no. Man, Kevin dumped this dude, picked him up, slammed him. Wow, he was killing him, man. But then next thing 10 dudes on top of Kevin. I'm yanking cats off. And now they're jumping on me, man. The bouncers finally broke it up. And these guys go outside. And they was like, yo, we're going to go get our gun and shoot you. Kevin goes running outside, rips his shirt off. He's like, who's going to shoot me? Who's going to shoot me, man? And everybody was like, yo, this cat is crazy, man. He's crazy, but he lived like that. We play like some other fun little games we do, like just to be tough. He'd be like, all right, man, put your hands behind your back. I'm going to hit you in the chest. And then I'll put my hands behind my back, and you get to hit me in the chest. And I just be like, first off, he was like 30 pounds more than me. So how is this a fair game? But then he was like, what are you, some type of punk? You ain't going to play? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to play, right? Man, so little things like that, competition all the time. I remember Mark had just won UFC. It was funny, man. Like, we tell people, know how Mark got in the UFC? We were sitting there watching the UFC one night over Nick Nutter's house, and I think Dan Severn won it or whoever. It was like, Mark, you can win that. And he was like, all right. And he started reaching out. That's how Mark got in the UFC, man. But when Mark won, and then Kevin went out to Brazil, and Kev, man, he would come back with these stories when he fought Carlos Barreto in the finals of a fight. And he was like, man, you don't understand it, Eric. It's a ring, a boxing ring. He goes, but all the fans are right on the ring. And like they got their whole dojo or whatever there right on the wing. And if you fall through the rings, the fans push you back in. And like before there was footage of it, just imagining it and then seeing the footage of it, you're like, yo, he wasn't kidding, man. So then I'll tell you the story about us in Brazil when we were fighting. So there was like Mark won, and Kevin came back and he won, and a guy named Maurice Smith beat Mark, and Kevin avenged that loss, So Mark and Kevin were gonna be like Batman and Robin. They always have been like that though. So they was gonna be Batman and Robin. And then I remember they was like, yo, there was only one weight class then, but then they was like, yo, they're doing another weight class. You have to go fight Brazil Vale Tudo. You wanna fight? I'm like, hell yeah, I wanna fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been fighting our whole lives. Let's do it. So we're training. He's like, yo, man, this guy you fight's kind of good. And I'm like, yeah, that's all right. What's his name? Pele. But at this time, like, you wouldn't know nothing about anybody because we didn't have the internet. Like, you only knew word of mouth. And Pele had either just knocked Matt Hughes out, or he had the next fight he knocked Matt Hughes out, right? And I get there and I'm in Brazil now, and I started hearing all these rumors about how good this guy was. And at the time, he was ranked number 1 in the world, and I didn't even know it, right? I got to fight this dude. So we go to Brazil, and I remember we're training. We're at some big old, it was in some mall, some big old gym, and they were constantly rotating black belts in on me, right? For some reason, Kevin and Mark didn't make the workout. So like over there, if you're good, and you go to a certain jiu-jitsu spot, they might try to hurt you so they can have props, right? So I remember a guy put me in an armbar, and I was mopping up these black belts, just thrash. They couldn't even fuck with me, right? And we're about 30 minutes in, they finally put one in, and he got an armbar on me, and I tapped, and that motherfucker popped my shit, man. And I remember I looked at him, I kicked him in his head, I was like, motherfucker. And like they had to break that shit up. I was like, I got to fight in 3 days. I got tapped. So I go back to the room, and Kevin and Mark were there. They were so mad. They was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? They wanted to go to the gym. But I remember before the fight, Kevin's cornering me. Now, Kevin's cornering me. This isn't a good idea, guys, so don't ever do this. Don't ever corner somebody and you got to fight the next fight, right? It's just too much. He's cornering me, and he's like the whole week he was like, hey, when we get there's going to be a lot of these noises. You're going to hear like boom, 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 like the sounds of a fight, right? And that's the footsteps on the octagon when it's like you just don't hear the noise until you hear it. And then like the loud crowd noise. And we're in Brazil, we're in Sao Paulo. There's like 12,000 people there, and they kind of pitted it like the Brazilians against the Americans too. And so I remember me and Kevin just warming up. He was like, hey, man, when you get in there, don't worry about nothing. Just listen to me, man. Just listen to me. We're going to win this shit, right? And I'm like, yo, man, like, I'm ready. Let's just go. Let's go. Let's go. We go out there. I get in the ring, and Kevin's like, all right, remember I told you to come over here before you got in the ring? He was like, he was like, all right, listen, man. You hear the cage shut. It's like, goosh, right? You ain't got nowhere to go. He's like, either you're going to whip his ass or he's going to whip your ass. Let's go. And I remember going like, yo, that's the best you got, man. Like, God, you motherfucker. Long story short, man, I end up beating Pele. And I remember Kevin fights next. So I'm walking off. I was like, hey, and this is back in the day where like you had 2 and 3 fights a night, right? I remember I was like, yeah, man, make sure you take your time with this dude. So we're trying to like game plan this shit. Like, you know, every fight you want to end whenever you can, but we're like, take your time with this dude. Give me some time, man. Yeah. Right? Kevin tried. The dude did something to piss him off, and Kev fucking knocked him out in 2 minutes. Tom Erickson comes in. Tom Erickson knocks his dude out in fucking 2 minutes. I swear to God, I just got backstage, man. And we get a knock on the door. They was like, you're up. And I looked at Kevin, I looked at Mark. I was like, yo, man, I ain't got shit. Like I was spending, it might have been 30 minutes, maybe like not even an hour. And they was like, yo, you gotta fight him. We don't get paid. Like that's what you gotta do. So next thing I went out there and I fought Dan Anderson. And I told Mark, like, I'm gonna try to take his head off. If that don't work, man, this motherfucker gonna be quick. So I remember I dropped him, pow, he buckled a little bit, but back then, like, we weren't on top of our game yet because you were only good at your sport at that time. And I remember Kev was like, he's like, attack him, but I let it, I chilled out for a second. And then I shoot in on a double, and he had his arm. He choked me out my arm in. He had choked. I didn't even think it was gonna be tight though, man. I remember he had my arm in. I was like, I'm about to shoot this motherfucker, right? Boom. And then I'm gonna get on him and ground and pound it, right? I go to shoot him. I remember I look up and Kevin's in the ring, and I was like, I see Dan Henderson walking around the corner, and I go up to hit him. Like it's on tape. I think I'm still in the fight. I go up to hit him, and Kevin like hold me back. I looked at him, I go, what the fuck you doing in the ring? And I was like, no, bro, I didn't get to that. So like, he's there controlling me, but then he's got to fight Tom Harrison right the fuck after that, man. So I remember we both lost in the finals of that one. That one kind of sucked. But at that time, it kind of helped me realize the values that he instilled in me, because we was always like, we're never going to be that punk. Like, that's never going to happen, man. Like, we're just too tough. Nobody can ever disrespect us. We're always going to fight, no matter who it is, no matter where it is, no matter what it is. Like, if you disrespect us, it's on. And I remember at that time, when I saw Dan walking, I thought I got clocked. And this tells a lot about fighters. All you fighters out there, remember this. Like, I thought I got clocked. And then I was coming to attack him, right? So my fight or flight mode at the most time I'm not thinking at all is always attack. I was like, I'm all right with that. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're who you believe you are. And a lot of people get in that ring and they get hit, and those tough guys crumble, man. Like Kevin wouldn't allow that. He had instilled a certain amount of success and a certain amount of who you're supposed to be. And don't forget who the fuck you are in you. He made you prideful. He made you want to be better when it came to being a man, when it came to being a fighter or a wrestler. And he always made you feel good about yourself by giving you compliments, whether it be on your mental aspect. I think Nutter said, he's always willing to help somebody out. I mean, I've seen the guy, we stop a car and he give a guy $50, a homeless dude $50. I was like, you didn't have a 10 up in that bitch, dog? You give me 50? Like, I'm your boy. Can I get 40 of that? You didn't even buy me a Diet Coke at the last spot. You gave that motherfucker $50. But nah, that's how he be, man. And on this week to remember him, man, that's more than anything I want people to realize. Like, he uplifted a room. He had that like Muhammad Ali charisma. The last story, and I'll let it go. There's a story, and I told this at his giving his speech to be his best man. I said, when Kevin won nationals his sophomore year, he went undefeated. He had to do an interview, and they was like, "Hey, how does it feel right now?" And Kevin looks at the camera, and he's like, "Well, I got a son, and whenever I look into my son's eyes, I get this feeling, and that's how the fuck I feel right now." And it was just like so dope, man. And I said it at his wedding, and I go, "Kev, I remember when you said that, man. And the look you got in your eyes right now, looking at your soon-to-be wife, is the same look you had in your eyes when you there. And now we all understand what you're feeling. We just rocked it out. You know what I mean? Big Joe Daddy was there. Coleman Buys, man, it was a fun event, bro. That's one of my memories that always go back with Kevin, his wedding day. Gina Carano was there. It was crazy, man.